I'll give credit when credit is due. That was a good intro. No, 10 out of 10. Would watch again. Probably not, but still.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Xmos, a gaming channel just like any other, however with slightly better graphics. Stop! Before you hit that dislike button, just hear me out.
I have never in my life disliked a video just because somebody disagreed with me. I've disliked videos because people are stupid, but that's it.
This is not what you think it is. We all know that PC can push graphics to the limit and is much better for gaming overall, especially for first-person shooters. We all know that. And no, I do not wish to debate that here. However, there is something that makes consoles more appealing to the gaming industry, especially for developers.
Oh really now, buddy? Well, I mean, if it's relevant to this conversation, then I, as a somewhat developer, I will probably be able to explain why you're wrong.
That is what I'm going to talk about in this video, so sit back and relax. Basically what I want to talk about is something that I keep seeing everywhere, and that is the discussion of which one is better and all that PC can do what consoles can't. But most people that argue that seem to think that we all have the money to buy a graphic card whenever some new game comes out.
Nope, 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 no, done. Okay. Let's be real here, buddy. If you believe you need to buy a graphics card every single time a new game comes out, that's on you. Nobody's telling you you have to buy a new graphics card every single game. Some may do, not all do. No one expects you to buy a new graphics card every single game. That's like saying, oh, no, all these new games are coming out for... Oh wait, no, that's what consoles do. Well, seems like there's something else PC can do. Backwards compatibility better than consoles. Wait, no, that's already on the list. Sorry, I need to find that list again.
And of course, we do not. I know there are a lot of passionate gamers out there that will say that PC is the master race and consoles suck.
Oh, the master race. Yes, quick, to the master race. Okay, but for real. No, my poor jokes aside. Anybody you see saying this is probably joking. Because it's a joke. And those who are not, well, they're probably stupid. Like, to be completely honest, because it ultimately comes down to your preference. Oh no, he said something that doesn't agree with us. Oh, we better go witch on him. Oh no. Look, you can make arguments all you want for which is better, but ultimately it comes down to your subjective opinion.
But then again, this video is not for that. This is a discussion for developers. Now, I don't want to generalize things here, that is not my goal, but the graphic card thing is what I wanted to talk about. The problem that a lot of different cards and overall PC setup present as a challenger to any developer, and that is what is appealing about console.
Okay, so let's just talk about this for a moment. A lot of PC games come with a minimal system requirements list, meaning these are the minimum you can play with this game with, whatever. I can't speak tonight, but you get my point. On console, you have to program it for the lowest common denominator, then make it better. So, using your argument, then it would be easier to do it for PC, because they could just say these are the limited amount of parts you can use and anything above this will play it. So I mean, you really don't know what you're talking about.
I am basing this on what developers have to say, not just me. Just take a look at what Jonathan Blow, the creator of Braid and Witness, said about making games for computers.
Code or whatever.
I have stayed away from reading that kind of stuff on the internet, in part because we've been really busy just doing support for people, and because like on the PS4 you don't really need that much support because it's a stable platform and all that, but on the PC, man, it's crazy. So that's been my entire job since the game came out, and almost everybody's entire job.
Right. Is there a lot left to, or do you feel like there's a lot left to do there in terms of?
It's getting reasonable. But now
I saw you were out buying video cards.
Oh God,
and through all that.
So we've been
stuff,
doing all that video card stuff, and now we're at the point of like, okay, we're getting some features in that would be good to have. Like, okay, we just patched in like a reticle for people who are getting motion sick and stuff.
I counter your developer with this developer. Making Final Fantasy 15 for PC is 100 times easier than console version, says game director. The PC version of Final Fantasy 15 is set to become the definitive edition of the game. It will boast, I felt like I said the wrong thing, but then I actually said the right thing. So now I just sound dumb. Improved graphics, a new first-person mode, and support for 8K resolutions. You think these add-ons would make development difficult? Not so, according to game director Hajime Tabet. In fact, he says it was more than 100 times easier. The entire article will be in the description down below if you want to read it, but you get the idea.
Tight.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what I want to talk about. At first hand, the variety of graphic cards that PC offers to us is great, but that is not true to the developers. It may be great for PC enthusiasts, but not for developers. Just like he mentioned there, every time you make a game, you literally have to spend countless hours to fix graphics and compatibility issues.
Funny you mentioned that. Multiple game making engines that I've seen does not require this. It's almost as if the engine he was using was centric towards a certain thing and it made it harder, thus muddling his judgment of it.
That is actually one of the most problematic things in terms of releasing games for PC. The huge variety of cards, and not only new ones, but outdated ones as well. They end up creating this nightmarish problem for all developers, and most of the time a huge chunk of the earning goes to this one problem alone. So if you expect to make loads of money with your game, you also have to expect that you will have to invest on a team just to make sure that your game is compatible with a lot, and I mean a lot of graphic cards. Since the PC market is by far the largest market for gaming, this is something that anybody that wants to make games has to consider before they start. And this is where I think consoles excel. Consoles offer a very elegant solution to the problem, because after all, it's not really that expensive, it gets the job done, and you don't have to optimize your game for many cards.
With how the Switch is going, we can add the Switch library into it as well in theory. That would mean you have to optimize it for the base PS4, the PS4 Slim if it offers any advancements in power, the PS4 Pro, the base Xbox One, the Xbox One Slim, or Xbox One S, I forget what it's called either way, the Xbox One X, and then the Switch. In theory, this is very cost-worthy if you don't know what you're doing, as you said. However, there are engines that let you do so, as I've stated before. I use one of my preferred engines to play around with and learn how to use, Game Maker Studio. There's an option to export to a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One base file where you could post it on the Xbox One and PS4 if you have the ability to do so. Stencil is another game engine that offers this. It's not rare to see engines that do this. However, you also have to put in the amount of effort you have to put into the game as well. It's not just that your game has to be enjoyable in order to sell. Like, you're talking about stuff that has multiple factors. Like, this graphics card thing is a factor into it, yes. However, when we're talking about games not selling, usually it's games like... I forget the name of the Brianna Rules again, but you get the idea. It's games like that that don't deserve the sales. Plus, you can never go into it thinking you'll make profit immediately. You can want it, but it's not likely you'll get it immediately just from PC because of how many games get released on the PC. Like, there's been estimates from thousands to hundreds of games released to Steam every single day or something like that. I forget the exact number, but it was a large number, at least double digits. At most, probably triple. I was over-exaggerating a bit, but still. You get the point. It's just, you can't go into thinking you'll immediately make money. You won't. And if you release the Xbox, you're not making much money either way because nobody's playing on Xbox. I mean, what?
Once it's done, it's done. You have to fix bugs and other things, but there won't be any graphic optimization for graphic cards. And yes, I can already see the comments on this video. But consoles barely play games in 60 frames per second. PC can do better and blah blah blah.
Good thing I didn't comment yet.
No, that is not the point. Like I said before, the gaming industry needs to solve this problem, and I'll bet you that every big company is realizing right now that making games for PC doesn't really make that much profit. After all, GTA 5 sold really well on consoles only for a long time.
Most of the money GTA made after the release of it on consoles was most likely microtransactions due to the, like, 7 million, I want to say. I forget the exact number. I'll look for it and tell you if I find out. If I can't find out, then, no, it's a large number I remember. That was, spent on microtransactions, so not really a good example, seeing as it's the microtransactions are on PC as well.
And one of the reasons that I believe that they delayed on delivering the game for PC was exactly the problem that they were having in solving compatibility issues. Because GTA 5 is the one example of a game that can use memory and graphics in a very efficient way. Otherwise, you would not be able to play the game.
You are wrong in this aspect because they spent a lot of time making it the best port. Yes, that means a lot of optimization as well, but more goes into it than just optimization.
And this is not only about consoles. Apple is a good example of this. They solved this when they entered the mobile market. The idea of giving the ability to developers to create an app or a game that was already optimized to be used in any device was something that really worked well for the company, hence why their app store thrived with casual games and all. On the other hand, you had Samsung and other companies that all offered a huge variety of phones, and all of them had different operating systems and whatnot. So making apps for them was pretty much a nightmare. Just ask any developer prior to 2015 on how hard it was to make apps for Android. Not only from the programming standpoint, but mostly due to the variety of hardware available. Again, this video is not about which one is better and what not. What I'm trying to convey here is why consoles are still the best choice for developers.
This is a falsehood. There are many indie game sites devoted to showing how wrong you are. The thought that consoles are the best for developers is completely wrong. Shall we go back to the PlayStation 3 days, where if I remember correctly, it had its own coding language. And not an easy one to pick up as well. It was hard apparently. If you want to talk about game development, then I would recommend talking about the Xbox One as an example, because it's already a dev kit pretty much. While the PS2 or PS4, ignore that slip of I was thinking about a game, is not one. But again, any PC can be a development machine, it doesn't matter. As I said earlier, Game Maker Studio gives you the very easy ability to choose how you want to export it, and it does a lot of the optimization for you pretty much. I'm sure there's some tweaking and stuff like that you have to do, but that's the same with all games as you said. Same goes with Stencil, from my knowledge. I have to do more research into that, but still, you blatantly lied in this video.
The idea of having a dedicated system that you can play games pretty much helps the most important part of the gaming industry, which are the developers, and also the indie developers, which is a growing community.
In the description is a link to one of two indie game sites that I use whenever I want to find indie games. There are thousands upon thousands of games on these places. Not to mention Steam as well. So please, I suggest you go take a look at these websites because you obviously don't know what you're talking about.
And to understand this is crucial for anybody that maybe one day want to make games. But what is the problem? There are a lot of limitations in terms of consoles. Yes, they solve the graphic cards problem, but they have their own. Computers are not just a gaming platform, they are more than that. And consoles, for instance, can't do what most computers can. You can't use Office on a console or Adobe Premiere or Photoshop or whatever. Consoles are consoles and games is what they do. However, keep in mind that the reasons they do not do any of that is because companies sell them as gaming consoles and not as computers or whatever. But with Project Scorpio on the way, that might change a bit.
The One X isn't going to change anything except giving you a more powerful console. So I mean, if you want that, I mean, hey, you can get that. I'm not going to immediately. Because
it seems that the price tag for Scorpio will be way above the usual $400 mark, with some sources suggesting that the price to be over $800. What does that mean? Well, for once, and this is my speculation, is that Microsoft is trying to push consoles to be more than just gaming and Netflix machine. I know that that is something that I would do eventually if I was in charge of the company.
I think Microsoft just wants their customers to buy the actual exclusives instead of just hyping them.
But hey, I'm not. Don't need to remind me in the comments. But I think it would be nice to buy a machine that can become some sort of computer whenever you're not playing a game. That would actually become the wet dream for developers.
So, you mean like a PC? If you don't realize what you said, or you realize what you said and decide to leave it in because you thought you was making a good point, but what you described was a PC. A device that can be a PC when not playing games. That is a PC. Congrats, you played yourself.
Because you can pretty much develop way more than just games for it. After all, I've met a lot of people that use their computers as if it was a console. So if Scorpio offers to be all in one package, I think it would be a nice move by Microsoft. Another thing that I wanted to mention is piracy.
If there's one thing developers have a problem with consoles, it's buying used games. I mean, it can go both ways. You can make moral arguments all you want. Oh, it's whatever. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna go out and buy a new game after you have one.
Ever since the beginning of time, if there is one problem that developers face with computers, is piracy.
I walked into a GameStop a couple of days ago. Well, not a couple of days ago, but a couple of months ago. And there was a whole rack full of used games that anyone could get a hold of, just like pirated games, except people wouldn't go and buy a new game if they had a pre-owned one, now will they? The most a developer will get out of it is DLC, if there is any. With piracy, there's always a chance the person will go buy it, and you can still make the moral argument all you want, but still, you can't win a legal argument with something that technically, or not legal, an argument for developers with something that technically shouldn't be allowed. I mean, it's almost like you are ignoring a large portion of what you're saying.
Although you can still pirate console games, I still think that they can control that way more than PC. But PCs unfortunately don't offer much solution to that problem, even though most games now you have to have an account, but it's really easy to bypass that. After all, if you go to any third world country where people cannot afford a full price tag, piracy unfortunately is the way to go. Consoles on the other hand have been doing a much better job in terms of fighting piracy, and for developers that is key.
Actually incorrect. The biggest problem with video game industry right now is used games, seeing as developers will not get money, as I said earlier. More likely they'll get DLC for it instead of actual purchases of the game. Which is probably why they started putting microtransactions in their games to sort of combat that, which wouldn't surprise me. Piracy doesn't really harm the industry, as proven by the UK in a study that they tried to hide because it didn't fit the narrative. So, I will link that below as well. You can go read it and all that if you want to.
It really hurts to see your hard work being pirated around the world, but it's still good to know that you have fans. The idea is to make original products more appealing to the audience, and in a way that is what I think they have been trying to do with pre-order stuff, exclusive content and whatnot. But
there's only a couple of companies that I've seen that do pre-order stuff pretty well. One of which is surprisingly Call of Duty. From what I've seen of their pre-order stuff, it always becomes public after the release of the game and given probably a month or two. Like Nuketown, for an example, in Black Ops 2, it's public for everybody on every system now. But this is beside the point. While exclusives are needed for consoles, the idea of them are not a good practice for companies to be doing. And no, I don't mean first party, I mean third party or second party. But I digress, this is more of a topic for a rant rather than a response, unless it's talking about that in particular.
I have to say that they are not having that much of success. So even though PCs are better for gaming in general, for developers they offer more headaches than anything else.
No, you're lying. Sorry, I wouldn't say you're lying, but I had some point out. I apologize.
And that is why consoles are still the best choice for developers. So it makes sense for Microsoft to make a push on their next generation to unite the best of both worlds. And this is one of the things that makes me more interested in acquiring an Xbox Scorpio. I think the idea of not just buying a console but an overall PC that is dedicated game machine would be awesome. And yes, there are some companies that offer such PCs for a while now, like Alienware, Dell, or even Steam was going to go with the Steam machines and all. But I gotta say to you, I have never heard of anybody that actually got a Steam machine. But I heard of people that actually bought the controller and they were very disappointed. To me, it makes sense that Microsoft may be trying to do such thing, because after all, they have the Windows Store. So the idea is that they might push gamers to substitute their machines with consoles, because after all, they can have their games and also the apps all in one machine. But this is all just speculation. So in the end of the day, there are many reasons why consoles are more appealing to the developer, and that falls down onto the variety of aspects of the PC industry, which was also the problem of the mobile industry. So like for instance, back in the day, there were way too many phones. I remember not being satisfied at all with the stuff that they offered. It was like, hey, for a few dollars more, you can get a camera on your phone, and for a few dollars more, you can get colored screen. I mean, it was a disaster. So to me, if consoles become some sort of all-in-one type of computer, I think that would justify the high price of it.
There you are, saying all-in-one computer again. If it's a computer, it is not a console. My god, it's like talking to a brick wall. I know it's a recording, don't mock me for making a joke.
But if it will be successful or not, that is something that we can only speculate. But then again, nobody will listen to me anyway. This was Dr. X, and I'm out of here. See ya!
No, I definitely listened to every single point you made. It's just, you were so disingenuous with it. You lied every time you spoke. I was told to be edgy with you. But this doesn't sound like somebody who deserves edge. This sounds like somebody who's genuinely mistaken. However, I was sent another video of yours to do, so I'm going to be watching that and deciding whether or not I'm going to do it, because apparently, I forget the actual topic of the video, so no. But anyway, if you're new to the channel and you liked this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe right down below. Links to my social media is down below as well as my Instagram if you want to follow. I don't do anything there, you can just follow. I might post something, maybe some sneak peeks now and then, I don't know. Patreon's also down below as well as a one-time donation thing, and I'll see you guys in the next video, bye.